If you want to make creative, fulfilling music, first you have to give up on being original. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm serious. Stop worrying about being original. No one is original. Art doesn't come from nowhere, springing fully formed from the mind of some unique, inspired genius. It comes from communities and conversations and cool people sharing ideas. And where do those cool people get their cool ideas? They steal them. In this video, I'm going to explain why you should be stealing from others, how to learn from your inspirations by copying what they do, and how any producer, no matter what skill level you're currently at, where you are on your production journey, can start to figure out their own unique sound. I've been at this a while. I've been to 2 different universities studying music production. I've been making music since I was a teenager. I've been releasing music in my current project for 5 years now, and this is the lesson that I wish someone had walked me through when I was starting out and trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to say with my music. But first I'm going to show you what my music sounded like before I started to do this and how much better it got when I finally figured it out. And yes, that does mean showing you some of the tunes that I made as a teenager. It's gonna be very embarrassing for me. Now it may shock you to learn that I was a weird kid who did not spend a lot of time outdoors. And I got into music production because I was A, extremely online, and B, really into progressive rock and metal music. And I was hanging out on forums and hearing music that was made by people who are alone in their bedrooms, recording and producing entire songs and albums all on their own. And I found that super intriguing and exciting. So I wanted to kind of dabble and get into it myself. And suffice to say that when I inherited my dad's old work laptops, I very quickly got to work installing tons of pirated software that almost certainly led to that particular computer's untimely demise. It literally just stopped turning on at one point. But yeah, so I was using my guitar and an audio interface and sampled drums, and I was making music that sounded like this. Please appreciate how vulnerable I'm being with you right now, because this extremely dorky music was my biggest passion as a deeply closeted trans kid. So listen, whatever gets you through, babe. Anyway, I started getting into electronic music when I turned 18 and I was starting to go to clubs. And one of my first forays into making dance music was, let's say, heavily inspired by Open Eye Signal by John Hopkins, which sounds like this. And the tune that I made sounds like that. Pretty direct inspiration there. It's like, what if the good song, but worse? As I was digging through old tunes, I also remembered that around this time I was listening to a lot of Dark Side. See if you can trace the thread of inspiration to this tune that I made. forward a few years later to when I was marginally more cool, I was really excited about the new Prevalist song called Wireframes. Which led to me making this song called Operdry Blue. Which led to this objectively hilarious email response to me sending that track to another one of my favourite artists, Batu. And at this point I was like, right, yeah, fair cop, like, I'm excited about what I'm doing and it's clicked a lot of things into place for me, but I'm really just not doing anything that sounds like me. I'm doing things that sound like my interests, my inspirations. Now, what's the common thread between all of these tracks that I've showed you so far? They're all attempts to just directly recreate the music that inspires me, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I learned a lot from doing it, but on some level I knew that I wasn't making something that was authentic or unique to me, that actually said something valuable and added something to that musical conversation, that exchange of ideas. I wanted to be able to contribute my own insights instead of just repeating the things that other people had said. None of the people that I respected in the music scene would care about what I was putting out because they'd heard it all before. I needed to take some time and be purposeful and find something that only I could express. If you followed along with the Song Completion Kit series at all, then you're probably familiar with this song of mine. It's called Charm Offensive. I don't think it's some kind of unique, singular artistic vision, but I do think there's something about it that feels specific to me and what I like and my artistic sensibilities. And in some small way, it feels like something that only I could say, and I'm really proud of that. It doesn't sound quite like any one specific influence of mine. It's kind of an amalgamation of the things that make me musically. So the question is, what changed? Let's take a step back. Oh no. Have you ever thought about where your ideas come from? If you're watching this, then it's probably safe to say that you're a musician, but did you choose to become a musician on your own, or did someone influence you? Did you invent the music that you are interested in, or was there someone else doing it before you started? Nothing comes from nowhere, except maybe the universe, but that includes you and your tastes and your knowledge and your skills and your instincts. So if you're struggling to be original in your music making, why are you expecting yourself to create something from nothing when you've never done that before in your life? It's like learning a language, your first language, let's say, and as a child you're developing and hearing the people talking around you, piece by piece, word by word, you start to build a vocabulary of words that you can understand when you hear them. But before you can talk to someone else and string a sentence together and express something about yourself or the world around you, you need to copy other people. You repeat what they're saying and you listen to the same word in different contexts, and from those different contexts you start to figure out all of the different things that that word can mean. And when you've got enough words that you understand enough to make a sentence of your own, chances are it'll probably be quite simple, not particularly original. But as your vocabulary grows and your understanding of different words deepens, you can start to put them together in ways that aren't quite so derivative of the people you're learning from. You can start to say things that other people wouldn't say or wouldn't have said in the same way that you set them. And that's where you want to get to as an artist, to have a strong understanding of the ideas and musical strategies of a broad range of the artists that influence you, so that you can bring those elements and those ideas and those techniques together in a way that's specific to you and your taste and your interests. The next question then is probably something like, okay, well, I know what I like and I know what excites me, but how do I actually learn from my influences? And the answer is that you copy them. But Joni, you're probably saying, I thought copying your influences was derivative and boring and no one was going to care about the things that you said and all that kind of stuff. But that's just the thing. You're not copying to share the output with other people. You're doing it as an exercise for yourself to learn something. If you've ever wished that you could take a one-on-one masterclass with your favourite artist and learn everything that there is to learn about the way that they think about their process and how they get their ideas, I've got fantastic news for you. Masterclass is an online platform where you can learn from... I'm just kidding. The good news is I'm not kidding about you being able to take a one-on-one tailored masterclass from your favourite artists. There's this book called Steal Like an Artist. It's by Austin Kleon, and it's about the way that creativity is fundamentally an exercise in copying things from other places. It goes into a load of different ideas around this central concept, and I found it a really inspiring and helpful way to shift my thinking around the creative process from feeling that pressure to be completely original to understanding that ideas come from other places and other people and other artists, and that not only is that okay, that's how art actually happens in the first place. There's a link in the description if you want to check that book out and support both me and independent bookshops in the process. I read Steal Like an Artist in, I don't know, 2016 maybe, and it really helped me change the way that I approach my music making practice, because all those songs that I showed you earlier were like decent rip-offs at best, but the far more valuable thing that I got out of making all of them was that they all taught me something about the way that my favourite artists make the work that they make. All it takes is some attentive listening and you can reverse engineer the processes and decisions that your favourite musicians went through to create the end product that you love so much. For instance, that Peverless tune that I showed you earlier, that was a massive light bulb moment for me when it comes to dance music and particularly drums and arrangement. The way that you can create movement and excitement and a consistent sense of forward propulsion by changing out when different instruments and sounds come in and out of the mix. And so I took a deeper dive after that first casual listen, and I actually blocked out inside of Ableton just using empty MIDI clips to visualize what the actual arrangement for that song looks like. And that really helped me to internalize and develop my own arrangement skills when it comes to making dance music. In fact, so momentous was this discovery that I actually made a video about it. It's the first video that was ever on this channel. You can watch it at this link over here if you want to check that out. My point is, the creative process behind the tracks you love can be uncovered through some thoughtful engagement with the finished product. That might be me geeking out over the arrangement of the Peverless tune. It might be transcribing a melody that you particularly love in order to kind of try and figure out some of the ways that it does the things that it does and gets stuck in your head. Or it might be challenging yourself to recreate a particular sound from a song so that you can brush up on your synthesis skills. You might even go so far as to completely recreate a track, soup to nuts, which I've never done personally myself, but I am almost certain that it will be an excellent exercise if it's something that you're interested in, and will teach you a ton about arrangement and sound design and songwriting and all of that stuff. Identify what you find compelling about the music that you love, and then figure out how to capture some of that for yourself by engaging more deeply with your influences. That's a great learning tool, but we still haven't figured out how any producer of any skill level can find their own sound. So how do you turn copying from others into expressing yourself? We're going to start by doing some analysis of a song again, one of my own songs, and it's a track called Stick Shift from my All Center release from 2023. What have we got here musically? Well, it's kind of this 4-to-the-floor rolling kind of bouncy techno feel. We've got some swing on the percussion to give it some kind of shuffly movement. The sound palette is quite sort of, I don't know, high-tech and clean and futuristic, as opposed to like a more raw and distorted kind of techno sound. But the thing that I actually want to hone in on is the starting point before any of that got built out, the thing that inspired me to make the entire track in the first place, that unlocked this whole world and gave me a song that I'm really proud of out of the other end of it, and it's this. No, that wasn't a joke. I do actually mean legendary Swedish extreme metal band Meshuggah. Listen to the feel of the rhythms and the notes in this clip here. And now listen to the pattern being played by the bass synth in this part of Stick Shift. See what I'm getting at? I love Meshuggah. I loved them when I was a teenager learning about recording music for the first time. And I love them now. Learning their songs and making Meshuggah rip-offs in my darkened bedroom 10+ years ago taught me a lot about how they design rhythms to have equal amounts of complexity and groove. Many years later, I turned what I understood about that particular style of riff writing into an idea for a MIDI sequencer, which was the genesis of the bassline for Stick Shift, which then led me to creating the whole of the rest of the track, which hasn't made me unbelievably rich or famous, but it has helped me connect with people from all over the world who've listened to my music and danced to it, hopefully, and felt some kind of connection or emotional reaction to a thing that I made, that I put out there into the world. And that's f***ing magical, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. My point is that eventually you learn enough things from copying enough of your different influences that you can combine ideas from radically different sources and give them a new meaning by recontextualizing them alongside one another. And that's the thing that makes a copycat different from an original artist, the ability to create meaning by putting existing ideas into a new context musically. You might have picked up a word or a phrase from someone whose work means a lot to you, but if you can put that into a new sentence, then you've made it mean something different than what it meant before. And that's what makes your contributions meaningful and valuable and unique to you. Everything that I've just told you is completely useless if you never finish any music and put it out there to contribute your amazing new sentences into the conversation. So if you need help finishing stuff, or you just want to see how I do it, there's a framework for taking it through 5 different stages from start to finish of an entire songwriting process. Check out this playlist here. It's called the Song Completion Kit. There's a PDF guide. It's a whole thing. And I hope you find that valuable, but whether you choose to do that or not, I hope you've found something interesting or inspiring in this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you want more where that came from, and happy music making.